In July 2020, 18-year-old Grant Solomon died in what was deemed a freak accident in the parking lot of a gym in Gallatin, Tennessee. The circumstances were as strange as they were tragic. There was only one witness to the accident, Grant's father, a man who had been under intense scrutiny after years of allegations of abuse and mistreatment from his ex-wife. With an investigation swiftly opened and then closed, social media lit up over the injustice. Hi there, I'm Kevin, and welcome to Just Thought Lounge. Today's case has quite a few layers. If you've heard or seen anything about it before, you'll likely expect this to go in a different direction than the story is about to take us. There are questions in this case about large-scale corruption, as well as gaslighting of an abuse survivor by local and state officials, not to mention family members. Most shocking is the implication that many people have turned a blind eye to horrific allegations from a child, accusations of attempted murder, and possibly the killing of an 18-year-old boy. There are two very different sides to this story, but that doesn't mean that the truth is black and white. Let's take a look.
Good morning. Great to have you with us, and welcome to Channel 4 News Today on this soggy Tuesday morning, April 12th, 2011. I'm Aaron Solomon.
For 15 years, Aaron Solomon was a sports reporter and morning news anchor with WSMV-TV in Tennessee. Through his daily presence on the news, Aaron became a familiar face in living rooms all over Nashville and the surrounding area. Aaron left broadcasting around 2011 and became a financial advisor for some of the world's top investment banks, including Morgan Stanley and Merrill Lynch. Outwardly, it appeared that Aaron Solomon was a man that had it all. He and wife Angelia were married in 2001 and went on to have two beautiful children. Angie had a doctorate in pharmacy and a career as a pharmacist, but eventually took a step back to become a full-time mom. The picture of Solomon family bliss, however, was shattered when, in 2013, Aaron filed for divorce. What ensued was a messy battle over the children, as well as financial support. Aaron had already declared a bankruptcy once. The couple were again buried in debt, but unable to declare bankruptcy once again. At that time, both were unemployed. But finances were the least of their concerns. During the divorce proceedings in 2013, and for years after, Angie vocalized very serious allegations of abuse against Aaron. She alleged that she and both of the children were the victims. The situation in their home had gotten so bad that only days before he filed for divorce, Angie alleged that Aaron had tried to kill her. Despite what Angie described as a living nightmare at home, the judge overseeing their divorce proceedings initially awarded custody of the children to Aaron. Angie routinely lost visitation rights with the kids over the years. The custody disputes continued. So did the allegations of Aaron's behavior. No one, it seemed, was willing to help the Solomon children escape from their father. The two kids eventually ignored a court order and ran away from their father's home to stay with their mother. In 2020, their eldest, Grant, had just turned 18 years old. Grant was tall, athletic, fun-loving with a big heart. He was a star baseball player and a protective older brother. Gracie, 4 years younger than her brother, was also an active and loving child. Having just become a legal adult, it was said that Grant was seeking to win custody of his younger sister. Where the courts had failed his mother, he would step in and protect Gracie. Angie claimed that her son had been a witness to her attempted murder back in 2013. He knew what his father was capable of. When Grant Solomon met with his father on the morning of July 20th, 2020, Angie said that the two had not spent time together in about 2 years. Grant had a private pitching session booked at the Ward Performance Institute in Gallatin, roughly 50 miles from his home in Franklin. He agreed to meet his father there. What happened next is told mostly through the perspective of Aaron Solomon. He said that he pulled into the parking lot first, parked his truck, and waited for Grant to drive into the lot behind him. Grant then pulled in next to his father. They had arrived early and were in no rush to get inside. According to Aaron, he took this opportunity to check work emails on his phone before exiting his vehicle. When he glanced back up from his device, Grant's truck was no longer beside his. Aaron believed that Grant had gotten out of the front cab of the truck to retrieve his baseball gear from either the back seat or the bed of the pickup, when the truck somehow shifted gears, or perhaps it was never in park. The vehicle rolled backwards, dragged him across the pavement, down a hill, and into a ditch. Less than 10 minutes after arriving at the facility, Aaron called 911. From the parking lot, looking down on the truck in the ditch, he told the operator that his son was trapped under the truck and needed immediate assistance.
Okay, what's going on?
1357. My son's truck backed over him, and it's rolled over him and dragged him into the ditch, and it's on top of him. He's trapped under the truck, and somehow it drug him underneath it. Yes, my son is under it. I'm trying to call 911.
Okay, what's your name?
Oh my God. My name is Aaron Solomon.
How old is the male?
He's 18. He just turned 18 a couple weeks, about a month ago. It's my son. Oh my God. Oh my God, this is not good.
Is he awake and
Oh, please
talking
hurry.
to you?
I don't think so. He's not alert, right? No, he's out. And he's trapped. I got 3 guys here, and he's trapped under the truck.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I understand, sir. Stay on the phone with me while we get somebody out there. What's your name?
Aaron Solomon.
Throughout the call, Aaron sporadically called down to the men that he said are next to Grant in the ditch. His son was lying face up between the front 2 tires of the truck.
He's underneath the vehicle.
Okay, I've got that.
And that's my son. It's somehow it backed up. Yeah. Yeah, I'm on with 911 right now. Oh my God.
Was your son working on it?
No, he was just getting out of it. It's the hill. We're on an incline, and I guess he didn't have it in park or something, or it wasn't engaged, or. Oh my God. Oh my God, I can't believe
Is your son still not
this.
responding?
No.
And he's still under
No.
the truck. No one can get
Yes.
him from under it.
No.
Can you check and see
Huh?
if he's breathing?
Somebody's telling me that he's coming too.
Okay. he is.
Maybe.
Now, when he wakes up, he might
I'm
be
telling him,
scared.
man.
Can somebody just
I'm
get
telling
down
him.
there and talk to him?
Yeah, somebody talk to him. Shit. Grant, turn your face to the side if you can, barely, but be careful.
Don't move him, okay?
We can't move him. We can't move him. Oh my God.
When emergency services arrived, they found Grant on his back, under the truck, and no longer conscious. The vehicle was lifted with some difficulty, and Grant was rushed to the hospital. The teenager did not survive his injuries. An employee from the gym facility came out of the building and noticed that the vehicles were parked oddly in the lot. He reported that he saw Aaron Solomon pacing back and forth on his cell phone. There were 3 other men present. The limited police report made available from the incident stated that no other witnesses were located. The men that were thought to be construction workers left the scene before police arrived.
Yeah, it was like 8 a.m. We were in there kind of getting ready for everything, right? And when I came out, I didn't even know what was going on. What I noticed was I was walking by the door is open right now, and just cars are parked sideways. As you can see, like people kind of park vertically, obviously.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, why are people parking like this? Like, I'm like, what's going on? And then I came out, and the truck was already on them. And Grant's dad was over there on the phone, I guess, calling the paramedics. I think, like I said initially, there were like some construction workers. They had on a high-vis, is all I know.
You came out, you saw the cars parked weird. How many people did you see? Do you recall?
Four
Three people.
Like 3 or 4.
The truck was already down in the ditch. You saw Aaron Solomon
already.
Where? Kind of in the parking lot?
Like on the edge of the grass right there. Like literally looking out and trying to talk
he's on the phone.
Calling paramedics.
Okay. And then, so Aaron, truck, and then who else did you see? I know you didn't know them, but how many people?
Like 3.
3-ish people. And they looked like construction workers, I guess?
They had on high-vis. So they were
like the yellow
yeah, like what you see, like linemen, construction workers. It's just like anytime you work on the road or like in something like that, you have to wear high vis.
And it was 3 or so people.
Yeah, like 3.
At that point, were there police cars or
no
fire trucks?
No,
or
they came
like
a few minutes later.
Okay.
There were no security cameras at the facility or anywhere else nearby that would have captured events. Aaron Solomon was the only witness to his son's death. He would later explain what he saw to his ex-wife on video.
Something I need to address. My car is still running with air conditioner on, so I can't hear if his is on or off. But so I look down, then I look back up, and I see him because we were early. I mean, we had like plenty of time, so there was no rush. We had our time. So the last I see is him literally like right here closing this, about to open this, and I'm thinking, oh, he's just going to get his gear, and I'm going to check this email to make sure it's not important, and then I'm going to get out, and we're going to go in.
Did he have his ball cap on then and everything?
Yeah. I'm not thinking worst case scenario at the very beginning. At first, when I got out of my car thinking, oh my gosh, and I look around the parking lot and I don't see him, I start coming down this hill, and first I'm looking through the windshield to see if he had hopped back in by chance, because I don't see him standing up out here. So then I'm like, well, maybe he got back in somehow, and I don't see him in. And so I'm above the hill, and this is the front end's at the bottom of the ditch, and I look down, and I don't see his entire body because I see his red shirt and his head over here because he's angled that way. So I know that I know he wasn't covered by wheels up front, neither his head nor his feet, but he wasn't perfectly perpendicular. He was at a little bit of an...
Hospital staff recorded a laceration with bleeding on the back of Grant's head and 3 bruises, one on his jaw, one near his left hip, and one on his right thigh. This basic medical report noted no punctures, fractures, bleeding, or any other wounds beyond those 3 bruises and the 1 laceration to his head. According to Aaron Solomon, doctors who treated Grant told him that his son had suffered significant internal damage, which would be consistent with the accident as described. However, documentation of these injuries and others are lacking. There appears to be no record of burns from the hot vehicle, which had just been driven for over an hour to the sports facility, for example. It remains unclear if or how Grant had become stuck on the underbelly of the vehicle, or what portions of his body came in contact with which parts of the truck. Aaron speculates that he was trapped by the axle.
I think his chest and abdomen area was trapped by the axle, I believe. So this is actually...
How would you know the axle was on him?
Because that's the area. Because that's where...
I know you're here.
Because of where his head was.
A thorough reconstruction of the event would be needed to determine what other injuries should be expected. Grant was ostensibly dragged roughly 60 feet across the asphalt while wearing a t-shirt and shorts, but the report seems to omit the types of cuts and abrasions one would expect to see in that scenario. After Grant had been pulled from the scene, photos showed bloodied rocks near to the truck. Additional photos of responding emergency personnel also showed a ditch full of long, tall grass, seemingly undisturbed from the truck having rolled through it. Further photos posted online suggest a tire track on the far side of the pavement. If the image is accurate, the truck drove forward from the road, not backward from the parking lot. The image is unverified and unclear. It had also been widely reported that the truck was found in park with the keys still in the ignition. The available police report does not speak to this point. It's unclear what happened to all of Grant's clothing, though his shoes and socks, undamaged, were returned to his mother. These appeared to show no signs of what had occurred. In the immediate aftermath of his death, Aaron declined an autopsy. Police released the white pickup truck back into his possession without conducting a forensic examination. These choices left a gaping hole in the death investigation, which was subsequently closed. The Gallatin police determined Grant Solomon's death was an accident.
Right.
It's steeper there, yeah.
Pull up pull up a little further and try it.
Alright, so
Oh.
there's drive.
There's drive.
Okay.
Okay.
Now neutral. I mean reverse.
Well, here's neutral.
Here's neutral.
And that's
Fast.
immediate. So
That's
he
fast.
can't even get out the door.
Yeah.
So it's either got to be, quite honestly, it seems like it's got to be maybe drive, and it was pause, because this is still not as steep as their parking lot.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think is maybe it was in, but even, I don't know. Now, see right here, it's in drive, and it's not moving. But
Okay.
it's not as steep as it is there.
But if
Right.
if my dad's theory was true that it was jumped out of gear and it jumped to reverse, he can't get. But if it jumped after he got out,
Right. Well, hold on. Good job.
what's that?
Well, I just tried to see if I could even put it in park where it's over where it shifts, and it won't even stay there. It automatically goes over here. So
Okay.
I don't know. It's just so freaky.
Wait, you did
because
what?
none of it makes sense. No, I was trying to see how park it goes in there. I was trying to see, like you were saying, would it pop out of
It
park?
can't because it has to go over to the column.
Right. So it won't stay there. It won't stay right there to possibly pop down to
No.
reverse.
God dang,
I mean, it's just,
what happened?
I don't know. None of it makes sense.
The decision made by the Gallatin police did not sit well with Angelia. The circumstances of Grant's death were both bizarre and suspicious. There was no indication that the truck had malfunctioned, and despite explanations being offered by others, mostly those close to Aaron, that doctors had found internal injuries, Angie firmly believed that the forensic evidence did not align to Aaron's story. Dr. Solomon knew that there was a clear motive for Aaron to kill his son. Years of abuse that she claimed the family had suffered at his hands. Angie alleged that Grant had played the role of protector to both her and Gracie. She said that her son had suffered years of psychological and at times physical abuse at the hands of his father. At the time of his death, Grant had been speaking to friends about how he planned to testify against his father as an adult, even going so far as attempting to win custody of his younger sister. For years, Angie had been seeking the assistance of authorities in Franklin, in broader Williamson County, and in the state of Tennessee. In 2018, she connected on Facebook with County Sheriff Jeff Long and expressed fears for her own life and that of her children. Only a few months later, deputies from the same sheriff's office would arrive at her house to take the children from her once more and return them to her ex-husband. Reports to the Department of Child Protective Services, or DCS, bore no results for the desperate mother. By the time of Grant's death, Angie had been barred by court order from placing any more legal claims against her ex-husband for a full 6 years, until Gracie reached the age of 18. What could account for the authorities in Williamson County and the state of Tennessee so routinely turning their back on Angelia Solomon and her children in the face of numerous serious claims? According to Angie, it was Aaron Solomon's connections. The church where Aaron worshipped, Grace Chapel, was also the one attended by a number of high-powered individuals, State Governor Bill Lee and Senator Jack Johnson, to name a couple. Jack Johnson's wife, Deanna Johnson, was the judge who had ruled against Angie, barring her from continuing to place claims against her ex-husband. With the court system against her, DCS investigations closed without actions taken. And no other means to be heard, Angie took to the media. With the assistance of friends and other concerned supporters, she launched a social media campaign to draw attention to Grant's case and her allegations of abuse.
This is what's so confounding. Why would authorities cover for Aaron Solomon if what you say is true? If the forensics showed otherwise, why would anybody cover for, for your son's father?
I mean, that's the question, is who is Aaron Solomon? Who is he really? And really what you're seeing here is, in the sadness of Grant not being here any longer, is just a continuation of the pattern of life that we lived from 2013 till that day, in July 20th, 2020, under Aaron Solomon's control. It's just a continuation. Why no one helped ever at any point, why no one stopped and stepped out of the circle and helped Gracie and Grant just as children on their own. There's a forensic evaluation and interview on file at the Williamson County Sheriff's Department that was arrestable, and they let it go. So if one adult had done their job, Grant wouldn't have had to step in and do the job that adults are supposed to do.
Angelia and her supporters set up a series of social media accounts to perpetuate their message. They called the movement Freedom for Gracie. The name highlighted the tragic situation that Grant's little sister found herself in following his death. There are additional postings under the name Justice for Grant. Gracie believed that her father had killed her brother. Custody between the two parents remained unclear, but Gracie had been vocal for years over her refusals to live with her father. She would refuse to leave with him, and she would run back to her mother.
I was friend with Mom.
Alright, so then after the party, you go with me to Grants, Mississippi?
I don't want to go to Mississippi, please. I just want to...
Okay, Gracie, you're coming to me eventually. Because you guys are breaking the rules. I'm not. You two are breaking the rules. I'm not.
Is that what you think it is?
No, I know what it is. I understand. But at some point, we're supposed to be following rules that aren't being followed. And there's reasons for the rules. And it doesn't matter what us three think. And we've had this conversation a number of times, but it's got to stop. Gracie will be coming to me at some point. Whether you like it or not, it will happen. Because I'm not going to continue to allow us to be breaking the rules. And you shouldn't be allowing it either. And you shouldn't be allowing it either. It's not just about what you want right now. It's much bigger than that. And I've tried to play nice and be nice about it, and you've been with Mom way more than you're supposed to, and way more than what the judge said.
There shouldn't be supposed
It doesn't matter what you think right now.
Then, in a heartbreaking move that proved impossible to ignore, in 2021, Gracie posted a video. It has been viewed over 160,000 times. The video is entitled, "A Cry for Help." In it, the young teen details years of alleged abuse. In the video, she calls her father a rapist and a killer.
My name is Gracie Solomon. I'm 14 years old, and I'm here to tell my story. I just want to say before we get into any of this that it's coming straight from me. It's all me, and no one else is telling me what to do. My brother died protecting me from my father, Aaron Solomon. My father is a monster. It makes me want to vomit. He is trying to force me to come live with him this Sunday. I begged him in counseling to never do this, and he promised me he would never try to take me again. He is a liar. I'm so scared of him. I've seen him do terrible things to people.
Since the divorce in 2013, claims of abuse against Aaron Solomon have been made in 4 different courts and instigated at least 7 separate child welfare investigations. All of these claims were closed without actions taken. Along with the Grace Chapel Church, its associated school, Grace Christian Academy, where Gracie attended, has come under fire for ignoring her claims and failing to report what she has told them. They are legally obligated to report any reasonable concern to authorities. Widely circulated recordings of school staff discussing the issue paint a picture of officials who care more about the image of the institution than the safety of one of their students. They would prefer the subject not be discussed openly.
A lot of kids are being affected by what she's gone through and what she's telling people, and then they're so young. We're talking about 10 and 11-year-olds, so they don't know what to do with it, and then they go tell somebody else, and then it's like, I just don't want it to become the talk of the school or to grow a life of its own. We want to, for her sake, how do we contain this? So I don't want to, I don't want to bring a light to it when people don't know.
Hearing is that you don't want her to talk to anyone about it, other than you don't want her to talk to more people about it, is what I'm hearing you saying.
Well, because I just don't think that.
Headmaster of Grace Christian Academy, Robbie Mason, has been singled out by the Freedom for Gracie movement. They say he has failed to protect his students.
Please come to us so that we can give you the truth. I always say, we're not going to believe everything that your kids tell us about you, so please don't believe everything that your kids say about us.
Outrage over the apparent corruption of the legal system, the failure of social services, and morally bankrupt religious and educational institutions has very understandably intensified.
The administration of this school failed the Solomon children, and because of it, one of them is dead. And this man is walking free. When you sit beside the governor of Tennessee at church, you can get away with anything.
He was 18 years old, and when I tell you the story of what happened to him, his mother, and his sister, it will haunt you forever.
This man is a child predator and a child murderer. If you see him in your area, you need to get away from him.
A little bit surprised because Tennessee is shady as fuck. This is Aaron Solomon, who was accused of raping his own daughter and unaliving his own son. Grace Chapel and Grace Academy were well aware of the abuse and did nothing.
I need to know more facts, but I can tell you this. There's a reason I'm covering it.
So make of that what you will. If it isn't already clear, in my opinion, the Good Old Boys Club was hard at work.
There have been calls online for Aaron Solomon to lose his role as a financial advisor, for him to be jailed, and worse. So in 2021, following the release of Gracie's video, Aaron filed a defamation lawsuit against roughly 20 named individuals, including his ex-wife. Other defendants included friends of his children and their parents who have been involved with social media accounts. Although the false claim at the center of his lawsuit relates to Gracie's video statement and the movement that has her name, his daughter is not listed amongst the defendants. Aaron Solomon states that Angelia is centrally responsible for the negative and accusatory social media campaign against him. He believes that she has written all or most of the posts online, posing as someone else in order to present her views as facts in third person, and that his daughter is a victim of parental alienation. It seems that this argument had been building against Dr. Angelia Solomon for some time. It dates back to the initial days of the divorce when Judge Smith ruled that both children should stay with Aaron and be temporarily removed from contact with their mother. Unlike Judge Johnson, who arguably had a conflict of interest, Judge Smith did not. He heard testimony from Angelia about the night that she alleged her then-husband tried to kill her. A few facts about the alleged attempted murder are not in dispute. Angelia found herself in the shower of their bathroom in the family home in Franklin around 2 a.m. on May 10th. She had the cord of a hairdryer around her neck.
Something was terribly awry because there was a blow dryer in the shower, resting in the bottom of the shower, and the prong was sticking up and tied to the shower nozzle.
Aaron found her, revived her, and subsequently called her parents and took her for psychiatric treatment the next day. But was this an attempted murder, or, as Aaron would claim, that Angelia committed a staged suicide? In the 2013 divorce hearing, Aaron's attorney argued that Angie had staged the scene in the shower for attention. That texts between the two, exchanged in the hours after the incident, showed this to be true. Angie admitted as much at that time. There was never a murder attempt, only an elaborate lie constructed afterwards. Text messages between her and Aaron were presented to Judge Smith. In an effort to compel the truth from Angie in writing, Aaron had lied to her in the text, saying that he had taken a photo of her in the shower before he assisted her. Angie's text back read, "You took a picture before you tried to help me? That just shows me where this has gone. I staged that anyway, but who cares? Use it against me. All I wanted was to be loved, nothing more. Unfortunately, I wouldn't kill myself, but you would memorialize my faking it to get attention and use it against me instead of love me." When questioned, Angie testified that she did not think that she wrote those revealing texts. According to the court record, Judge Smith left the courtroom to eat a sandwich and read the exchange directly from her phone, which had been preserved as evidence. He returned and determined that she was being untruthful. In a later email, the court read that Angie again wrote to Aaron about the same shower incident. "I made a bad choice for attention, but I accept responsibility for that choice and have learned why I did it and won't repeat it." When asked if she wrote that email, Angie testified that statement and other similar statements that she made were an attempt to get her husband to come home to her. In multiple texts to Aaron, she threatened to hurt herself because, as she stated in the court record, "I know that would get him to come back home. My heart was broken." After Grant's death, Angie reverted to her original version of this event on social media, ignoring her testimony in court. She says now that it was, in fact, an attempted murder. Many of the claims on the Freedom for Gracie website conflict with the court record. Dr. Solomon herself testified that she was trying to win her husband back in May 2013. However, the website states that she was trying desperately to leave her husband for years before the divorce. She sought a protective order against him after the shower incident in 2013, but later dropped it.
I'm still fighting today, and I really thought Grant and I would get the kids out, but I didn't.
Angie now states online and in interviews that Grant saw the whole thing happen in the shower, but she said nothing about him as a witness in order to protect him.
Grant would have been where the lion is represented by the lion, the shower.
This contradicts both her protective order and testimony under oath to Judge Smith. Both children were in their rooms, asleep, and never came out. Grant saw nothing. Angelia has also taken aim at her immediate family. On the website, Angie depicts her father, Dan Huffins, as controlling and abusive. She claims to have been under pressure from him to drop the protective order against Aaron, and attributes quotes to him such as, "A husband can do what he wants to his wife." Conversely, Judge Smith wrote that Mr. Huffins was a very believable person. In his testimony, the ostensibly concerned father stated, "I am going to tell you this because I love my daughter. she's a compulsive liar. I can never expect to have a conversation with her unless there's some untruths that's going to be told, unless something is going to be stretched. I know my daughter needs psychological help. I know that. It was not only the doctor's father who testified to this effect, her mother did as well. But Angelia claimed both parents had ulterior motives. They had both treated her horribly as a child, and her sister had been witness to the abuse that she suffered. In response to these allegations, her sister Julie submitted an affidavit that stated, "I am unable to understand why Angie makes these false statements, but can only attribute it to mental illness." They had a happy childhood and loving parents. It was not only family members that contradicted Angie's version of events. She did herself no favors when offering her own testimony. Angie told the judge that she had not been the source of numerous claims to DCS about Aaron and the children. The DCS representative at the hearing, as well as the department's documentation, showed this to be a lie. Reports about Aaron to Child Services eventually became so frequent that years later, a court in Williamson County would deem them an abuse of civil action and bar Angie from bringing any new claims for a period of 6 years, until Gracie turned 18 years old. After hearing from all witnesses, Judge Smith made his ruling. Simply stated, "Miss Solomon, I do not believe you." He also admonished her for a plea for funds posted on Facebook, in which she claimed that she needed to raise money because her soon-to-be ex-husband had taken her babies. She said he kidnapped the children. The post raised nearly $4,000. Judge Smith asked, "Why would you tell people he had stolen your babies? I mean, I signed a restraining order, ma'am. If anybody is to blame, it is me." Angelia claimed that someone had broken into her Facebook account. She had nothing to do with it. The judge further believed that she had been finding a means to message her children in violation of this restraining order. On a message still held on her device, sent to Grant's iTouch, she instructed her son to delete all messages that she sent to him after reading them. Although the device with that message was presented to her in court, Angie denied writing it. Aaron Solomon testified that his greatest concern about agreeing to even supervised visits between Angie and the kids was about what she was going to say to them about him, because she had a serious problem with lying. On the morning after the shower incident, for example, Angie told the children over breakfast that their father had left in the middle of the night to be with another woman. At that stage, he testified, it was the worst claim he had directly heard her say about him. Faced with these contradictions, untruths, and serious concerns relating to her mental health, Judge Smith concluded, "I am concerned about the safety of these children, even in a supervised situation." His written decision months later stated that the court finds the real issue here is whether Miss Solomon is dealing in reality. He ordered that Angie could not see the children until she underwent a psychiatric evaluation. Dr. Solomon has repeatedly fought back against her husband's claims that she is mentally unstable. She has admitted to seeking treatment from more than one psychiatrist, but only to seek help due to an unhealthy marriage. Angie has claimed that after the court-appointed psychiatrist submitted his report, it was disregarded by the same judge who ordered it. Angie has stated that it found her to be a loving, caring, and capable mother. Her separation from the children was temporary. Visitation was slowly reinstated. And eventually, the kids would run away from their father's care to live with their mother. In one of several videos posted by Justice for Grant, Angie explained how she arrived at the cemetery to find her son's grave cleared of all markers, flowers, baseball memorabilia, and other items left by mourners. She alleged that Aaron had wanted the grave to be unmarked. She further accused him of threatening to move his son to a different resting place, something that he could do because he had paid for the plot.
The groundskeeper was out there and he's my friend. And so I said, what happened out here? And he said, Mr. Solomon came and told me he wanted everything cleared. And he said, so I did. I cleared it all off and it's in a box up there at the memorial home. In the state of Tennessee, by law, if a child is buried, both parents own half. So by law in the state of Tennessee, that doesn't hold. But in his mind, he believes that he owns Grant and this spot and he can do with it what he wanted. Ours was the only one that was completely cleared. Days after that, even the owner said, Aaron wanted it cleared and those dead flowers were laying on it.
Then Angie claimed that Aaron had purchased plots for her and Gracie, as well as himself, a move that she linked to an alleged murder-suicide scheme. She feared for her life.
We were in the counselor's office in September the 26th, telling him we would never be a family, we would never go back to him, we would never. And on October the 6th, just the next week, he had gone in and set up the payments for the plots. And he had put my name on plot 3 and Gracie's on plot 1 and his on plot 4.
Pam Stevens was the funeral director at Williamson Memorial, a local Franklin, Tennessee funeral home and cemetery in July 2020. The day after Grant's death, she has stated that she assisted Aaron Solomon, alongside his ex-wife who was there with him, to select Grant's burial plot. At the same time, all family plots were selected and a deposit was made, with Angie's knowledge and approval. On October 6th, Aaron did return to pay the balance on the plots and sign the contract, as agreed. Pam has also legally declared that the items were removed from Grant's grave in order to mow the area. Angie was notified that this was the case at that time. She chose to then take the temporary marker from the grave. After Angie removed it herself, according to Pam's signed affidavit, the mother began taking pictures of the unmarked plot and claiming that Aaron was responsible. The white pickup was in the possession of Aaron Solomon for months after Grant's death. He had the vehicle written off and sent to a scrapyard. According to his ex-wife, she was not informed of these decisions.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying down the road, not right now.
Before you sell it, I know
or if I do, or whether I don't.
Well, I mean,
sell
I know some of the boys are wanting to see it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So let me make a few pictures.
She eventually tracked it down and had it submitted for analysis. Portions of a report from the vehicle's computer have been published by Justice for Grant.
That black box actually shows that someone was in the driver's seat, that there was weight in the driver's seat in the last 3 seconds, and that the accelerator pedal was pushed in and the steering wheel was being operated and turned sharply to the right, which matches the tire pattern. Then it was placed in park and turned off, and the weight got out of the vehicle. Grant couldn't have been the one in the last 3 seconds to get out because he was under there. So the black box told us everything. So we have all of the evidence. We just don't have an open investigation.
If the report is to be believed, the data revealed a driver was accelerating before the truck made impact with the ditch. The driver's side seatbelt was fastened, and both acceleration and brake were used in maneuvering the vehicle. The data as published suggests that someone was purposefully navigating the truck when it struck Grant Solomon. It's unclear if this report was part of the information put in front of ADA Blanton and the Gallatin police when they reopened the case in 2021. In March 2021, Assistant District Attorney Ronald Blanton wrote a letter to Dr. Solomon's attorney regarding the conclusion of the second investigation into the death of Grant Solomon. Assertions from Freedom for Gracie and Justice for Grant omit reference to the reopening of the investigation. ADA Blanton wrote that the case was reopened upon Angelia Solomon's request and aided by the newly sourced materials and potential evidence that she had acquired. The details that the ADA provides in the letter, however, are very limited. He wrote only that the new information was compared to the original case file, that the investigators from 2020 had been interviewed, and that the investigation had been thorough. There was no mention of an exhumation for an autopsy, no crime scene reconstruction, no forensic evaluation of the pickup truck. Ronald Blanton concluded that it was a horrible accident, but the state of Tennessee declines to pursue criminal charges in this matter based on a lack of evidence.
I know there's a lot of community concern about that case. It is a tragic case, and I think it is right that it has received significant attention from both investigators and prosecutors. I also understand that in some circumstances, there simply is not the evidence to proceed with the case, and we may never know exactly what happened. But I am confident, based on my conversation with the director of the DA's conference, who got personally involved in this and expended significant amount of his own time in a way that he does not for virtually any other case in this state, that this is a case that received substantial attention, and that to the extent that prosecutorial resources could be deployed, they were deployed, and that this case received a thorough investigation.
Before Grant left that morning, he stopped in the door and said something that was so out of character. But he said, "Mom, I don't want to die in Gallatin today." So I begged and pleaded not to go, or I would go with him. Let me sit in the parking lot. I thought he was talking about his lungs from where he had COVID. He was getting over it. We were having to have x-rays and see doctors. I didn't want to be a helicopter mom, but I just thought it might just be there. He said, "No, Mom, you're not going." And an hour later, I got a phone call that Grant was dead in Gallatin.
Aaron Solomon's defamation claim is still pending in Tennessee courts. Of the accusation that he murdered his son, the lawsuit points out that the accident occurred in broad daylight, during regular business hours, just feet away from an open and operational business, and in clear view of a busy road. Aaron asserts that the false claims are being made in part as a means to solicit money. 2 GoFundMe pages are currently connected to the Freedom for Gracie and Justice for Grant social media accounts. One seeks funds to pursue evidence for the alleged murder in order to independently and properly investigate Grant's death. It has raised just over $130,000. The second is a legal fund for Gracie, who according to the account has hired her own legal counsel at the age of 16 to pursue charges against her father. That account has raised almost $40,000. The latest shocking development in the case was published by the Daily Mail in mid-April 2024. Dr. Solomon told the paper that back in 2020, she discovered that the Williamson Memorial Funeral Home, under the control of Pam Stevens, had broken her son's ankles in order to place him in a smaller coffin. She claimed to have seen this herself at a visitation, though no one else who was present at that visit has reported also viewing this horrific development. The Tennessee Board of Funeral Directors and Embalmers overheard the complaint. The board told the publication that there was no evidence other than the mother's recollection. To date, the death investigation has not been reopened for a third time. District Attorney Lawrence Whitley has stood by previous statements from his office clarifying that the case has been examined more than once, though he offers no further detail on what evidence was considered. He did add, "I prosecute anything that is feasible to prosecute, but this is not. This was a parking lot accident." A petition on change.org calling for the case to be reopened has garnered over 325,000 signatures. Last year, Gracie was again removed from her mother's custody and placed under DCS care. In June 2024, Grant Solomon would have turned 22 years old. That was the tragic case of Grant Solomon and his family. Thank you so much for watching and supporting us here at JTL. And a special thanks to those in the Members Lounge. Your extra support is really appreciated. I'm Kevin, this is Just Thought Lounge, and I'll see you in the next one.
When the scene plays, tell me who the scream saves. I can hear the cries repeat. Gotta take my time, cause these crimes get deep, but these stories can't hide. Let me find my seat. Kevin, go ahead and settle in. Gotta be selective, doing all the research, keeping it objective. Always been effective, can say he got a knack. Pick of the litter, you see how Newton got his back. Yeah, the content that you need, this could be a new sign. We talk